for you. So I received that phone call from Joe Stevens. We talked about 20, 25, 30 minutes really. It was long talk about what happened, and I've told her what happened to me, just like I'm telling you at the moment. So she said she's going to send someone, his name Akram, who's belonged to embassy, to see you this afternoon. She said, Akram, he's in Erbil, happened to be in Erbil at that time. But I didn't see Akram that day. Probably they didn't let him to come to see me. So in the afternoon, around 5:30, 6 o'clock, they call us again, all 7 of us, to go to officer in charge of Matta jail. When we went there, the general commander of Erbil police force, Abdul Khalif Talad, was there. So he sat again, he talked, for 1.5 hours, about how good is Erbil, how it's beautiful. We don't accept any protest, Anyone who's doing protest is trying to create chaos in this city, whatever. So I said, but protest, doing demonstration is a right according to law, isn't it? He said, we don't accept that right. So after a while, apparently one solicitor, his name Ajin, he wanted to come to see us 2 hours. He asked him to wait in front of the door. At the end, he called him. We started to talk, and then I said, at the end, I said, can I go? He said, no, you have to sign because you are released by bail, and my brother was taking responsibility for my release. I refused, but then all my friends, all other people, they said, come on, just sign to get out of here. I signed. Then Ajin said, let's go together. Abdul Khalif Tallah said, no, he's going by himself. I said, no, I'm not going by myself. He said, why? I said, do you guarantee nothing going to happen to me when I go in front of the jail? He said, yes, I do. I said, well, May last year, you told Zardash Usman that nothing going to happen to him, and he got assassinated and killed. He shouted at me, said, just piss off and go with Ajin. So we left. And that's what happened, really, and I was really surprised how come these government, in the name of heaven of democracy, won't accept someone to wear a T-shirt and to write only 2 slogans on the T-shirt. Their speech to outside world is that Kurdistan is a peaceful place, is the best place in the Middle East with regard to democracy, freedom of speech, and respecting human rights. But what I saw, it is totally rubbish, nonsense, And at the moment, if you look at Erbil, it's just like military camp. People don't feel secure. And after that, when I got released, basically, on daily basis, I have been getting all those phone calls. They are threatening me, either sending texts or threatening me. I become a big deal to PDK. Pshtewan Abdullah is a big deal to PDK. If PDK claim that it's a leader party and, it's the most popular party in Kurdistan, how come I'm the most popular party in Kurdistan scared from someone, his name Pshtewan Abdullah, who tried to express his opinion in a very civilized way? So after that, I got released. I came to Sulaimania because I didn't feel secure, and they threatened my family, all my family, and they have been chasing me, which is a very long story. And again, the last time during that demonstration, which happened on 18th of April, I went back that morning, and all my friends, they say, look, don't come to the demonstration till the number of people become really big, because if you come at the beginning, they know you and they are going to capture you. And I was hiding somewhere. At 1 o'clock, they asked me to go there to make a speech. So the driver was a female. She's a student at university. She came. I said, it's better if I go with a female because probably they don't, maybe they're ashamed to attack, something like that. So when we were driving there, after driving 500 meters from where I was, I found there was 5 cars chasing us. Then 2 cars stopped in front of our car, 2 from left-hand side to block the road, and 1 from behind. We had only right-hand side. So they came out, and I asked the female driver, actually I shouted at her, lock the doors and drive. So she locked the door, and one of them jumped into the car, but just she drove. And I was just shouting at her. So then I end up in front of because my brother's house is very close, which is next to my dad's house. When I arrived there, another 2 cars, because my parents' house, my brothers and sisters, they has been monitored for the last 14 days. 4 cars or 5 cars in front of each door. Another 2 cars came, so it became 7 cars. When I jumped out of the car, I knocked the door of my brother's house and I shouted, please open the door. So they attacked me from back. So that's one side, and there's some bruising there. So they pull out one gun, which I think it was electronic gun. They tried to hit me with it, so they opened the door and I escaped. They pulled me from their hand. So fight happened. Then they attacked my family, basically. 3 of my brothers were there, and I've got 3 young nephews above the age of 18, my sister-in-law, my niece, and my brother took me to the 2nd and 3rd floor, and from there I jumped. I went to a few houses away from there. Then I heard a gunshot twice. Then I got news, because people were there. They said, your nephew, his name is Goran, he's injured. Initially I thought by this gunshot, but later on I knew that they shoot him 3 times by electronic gun, and they start to kick him. There was at that time 25 people there, but then their force was increasing and increasing. So I called one MP, his name 3abdula, who belonged to Goran movement, and he's at the same time belonged to the internal committee of parliament. I said, look, that's my situation, and my parents' house, my brother's house, in very bad situation, and my nephew, he's injured. He said, okay, we'll come. We try to come. He came, then he called me, say, is this crowd in front of that house? Is your brother's house? I say, yes. He said, look, it's just like military, you know. There's heaps of people there. I said, yes, I know. He said, it's about 200 people. I said, well, I think that's the one. He said, look, I can't come by myself. So he called a few other MPs to join him. They become 5. Then still they couldn't come because they were scared for their own life. So he called Ismat Artushi, I don't know what's his name. He said he's the officer in charge for security office. And he asked him to ask those force or police force to come to protect our house. Police force came, and then they ran away from them, because even they beat police force. Those people were in civilian. No one knew who are they, what are they. So then the police force, they went to, because that Nariman Abdullah were monitoring our house, maybe 100 meters away. The police car went there, talked to them. Then those people, they knew, they went there and they shoot those 5 MPs. They shoot them and they run away. So later on, I really ran away from that house in very, I don't know, in very unusual way anyway. So then I got news that they beaten my mom. She's very old, 72. My dad, he's about 78. My sister-in-law, she has a wound on her face. My nephew, my niece, 3 of my brothers, all of them were beaten by them, and they took